welcome to my review of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I am tennyak, and today we'll be reviewing 2 episodes, so let's do it. Let's try to do 2 episodes in one. Well, 2 episodes in one video, and 2 episodes in the 15 minutes it'll take me to drive to work. Alright, let's tackle nightmares first. What I love about this episode is the same thing that I loved about the puppet show, is that it's not just a monster of the week. It's very different. It's not just a monster and then Giles saying, this is how we defeat it, and the book of whatever will tell us how, and then Buffy goes and defeats it in the end, and it's the end of the episode. To me, that would be a very, very, very basic episode. But they don't do that. They have an amazing storyline, which I think is great to have in season 1. And that just shows how powerful the series is going to be. Another thing that they do in this episode that they hadn't done before is that Joss Whedon had said that all of the monsters that Buffy are fighting could be metaphors for the real life evils. You know, school being on a hellmouth, etc. And in this case, you know, young Billy Palmer is beaten up by his Little League coach, and his fear of his Little League coach literally turns him into a monster. It turns him into the Ugly Man, which gets Billy trapped in this nightmare world where everybody's nightmares become true. And his nightmare is that he will always be running from the Ugly Man. He'll never defeat him. As Billy said, that's what happens. We hide, and then he comes. So, his Little League coach, was an abusive Little League coach, but it could be an abusive parent, it could be an abusive spouse. He could even be just a bully of any kind, in any kind of, workforce, workplace, or school, or anything like that. So, well, Buffy is able to piece the pieces together, and she's able to defeat the Ugly Man. She doesn't defeat him, she beats him up to the point where Billy can defeat the Ugly Man, because Billy has to be the one who does it. And the only other couple things I want to say about this episode is that, one, they actually draw back to this episode later in season 6 during the Buffy musical. Willow sings out, "We're just stuck in some crazy kid's nightmare," which was really awesome, because once again, it's making a reference from years and years before, but of course the audience gets it and the Buffy fans get it without a second thought. So I just wanted to say really fast what all the nightmares were, because they were a lot of fun. Giles' nightmares are not too horrific, but definitely would disrupt everyday life. He has nightmares that he gets lost in the stacks, stacks being the stacks of the library, and he has a nightmare that he can't read. And another thing that's really cool about this episode is that his nightmare actually, multiple people's nightmares play into each other, meaning he has a nightmare that he fails Buffy and Buffy dies, and Buffy has a nightmare that she's killed by the Master, and she has a nightmare that she becomes a vampire. So all 3 of those nightmares were actually able to tie into each other in one scenario. Giles fails Buffy because she dies at the hands of the Master, and the Master turns her into a vampire. So, Willow's nightmares is just stage fright, though we do learn in this episode that she doesn't like spiders. She has a fear of spiders. We also learn later on that she has a fear of frogs, which actually they mentioned many, many times in the 2nd season, which I thought was really fun. It was kind of like a fun running gag. And then they just dropped that storyline completely. I guess they just totally forgot about Willow being afraid of frogs. Either that or Willow got over her fear of frogs. But we learned in this episode that Willow's afraid of spiders. She's afraid of... she has stage fright, and singing. She's forced to sing opera very, very badly. And Xander has a couple of nightmares that play into each other. One is that when Willow is talking about being afraid of spiders crawling all over her face in the middle of the night, one of my favorite Xander lines is, "Now if it was a bunch of Nazis crawling all over my face in the middle of the night," And of course, when he is wandering through his own personal nightmare of the school being under construction and deserted, you actually see swastikas on the walls. And then, of course, he has a nightmare about a killer clown because when he was 6 years old, he got scared by a clown. But Xander stands up to his nightmare, and he stands up to him, and then he punches him out. So he stands up to it and defeats him. As if standing up wasn't enough, he actually defeats him too, which I love Xander, and I think that kind of shows him how strong he is, that yes, even though these nightmares are real and all these horrors that they face with, you know, vampires and evil witches and all these horrors that they face, even though they are real, Xander's able to say, I can actually tackle this one. So then he just goes and does it. And these early episodes really do make me realize how much I love Xander. And as he gets older, especially in the later seasons, especially in season 5, 6, and 7, he gets older, he gets harder. He never really loses that comic relief, but he definitely loses that boyish charm. And watching these early episodes really makes me realize how much I miss it, and how much I wish at least a little bit of it could have stayed. But of course, everybody grows up. So that's nightmares for you. Oh, and of course, Cordelia's nightmare is that she has horrible hair and she's dragged away into the chess club, which is awesome. But okay, that's nightmares. Let's move on to the next episode, because we're about halfway. I'm about halfway to my drive to work right now, so I gotta hurry up and wrap this up. And I'm actually probably going to be late right now, because it's like a 7-8 minute drive left, and I have to be at work in 5 minutes. Anywho, alright, out of mind, out of sight. I have to mention it. I'm not a lesbian if I don't mention it. Marcy Ross, played by Clea Duvall. I love Clea Duvall so much, and she's awesome as Marcy Ross. And I actually read an article, there was a writer on the 8th season comic book saying that of all the characters, all the one-time shot characters that he gets the most letters about to be written, he gets the most letters about to have written back into the series storyline, is Marcy Ross. So this is a Cordelia-centric episode. Well, we learned that Buffy was popular at her old school, which we knew. You know, if you watch the movie, you knew. Of course, you don't take the movie as law, but you take the movie, the storyline loosely. And so we knew Buffy was popular at her old school, but she's not popular anymore, and Xander and Willow are making some inside jokes, and Buffy feels like an outsider, so she really is able to identify with Marcy. What she's not able to identify with is that, as Buffy said, Marcy is a thundering loony, which of course she wails on Mitch with a baseball bat, and she knocks Harmony down the stairs. Woo woo, yay, Harmony's back! We all remember Harmony being a vampire and guest starring on Angel. Yeah, I do. Okay, and of course, when Harmony outed the existence of vampires in the 8th season comic book. Okay, I'm totally getting beyond ahead of myself. So Cordelia realizes she's being attacked after her teacher, Mrs. Jackson, who's going to help her, is attacked as well. So all the attacks boil down to somebody's after Cordelia. So Buffy decides to help her out, and they have a tiny bit of bonding when Buffy is telling Cordelia how she understands what it's like to be popular, but to be really lonely. You're so popular, you're lonely. And then, well, Buffy ends up saving the day, because, you know, we all know that Marcy somehow drags Buffy and Cordelia's unconscious bodies all the way to the Bronze. But Buffy saves the day. Marcy is taken off by some secret agents, and that's the end of the episode. But at the end of the episode, Cordelia, you think Cordelia would be a better person for it, and she learned her lesson and she grew, which she kind of starts to, because she actually confronts our core 4 group and thanks them with a very heartfelt thank. But then, of course, the minute her Cordelia's come up, she completely brushes them aside and moves on. So, yeah, she did grow, and she did learn a lesson, and she did become a better person, but just not enough to actually have it matter. But that's okay, because that's true to Cordelia. You can't just take a person like her and switch her around in one episode. She definitely grows very slowly over time. Even when she leaves the series in season 3, she still hasn't grown. She doesn't start to really grow until the end of season 1, Angel. But that's reviews for another time, and that's reviews that won't happen till later. I just want to let you guys know, since I'm on the topic, that yes, I will be reviewing Angel as well, which will be lots of fun. I will be viewing it I will be doing my reviews of Angel at the same time as Buffy. So when I do the very first episode of Buffy season 4, right after that I'll do the very first episode of Angel season 1. Okay guys, this has been Tenya's review of Buffy the Vampire Slayer season 1. I've crammed together Nightmares and Out of Mind, Out of Sight. So I hope you enjoyed it, and until next time, when I bring you the season 1 finale, Prophecy Girl, with a guest star appearance of my girlfriend. So until next time, thanks for watching guys, peace out, and catch you later.